Hi everyone, my name is Chloe and welcome to the start of another weekly reading vlog. It is Monday, April 13th. It's about 11 o'clock and I'm just getting on to update because a lot has changed in my reading world since the end of my last vlog. So I ended it yesterday a little bit early just because it was Easter. So we had an Easter egg hunt to go on and then we did dinner and stuff. We just did casual stuff at our house, but it was a no makeup day and I just kind of felt like not filming, so I didn't. So physically, I finished One Breath Away by Heather Gudenkauf, and I loved this book. I gave it 4 stars. It is about a gun, well, the blurb says, one school, one gunman, your child. So the book starts with a woman in a burn unit of a hospital. You don't know what happened to her. She gets a phone call from her 13-year-old daughter who is living with her parents, so the child's grandparents. She's in a different state because this woman's in the hospital. She gets a call from her 13-year-old daughter saying, I'm in school, there's a gunman, I'm stuck in a closet, he's got my brother PJ, and I don't know what's happening, but I love you. And so this woman freaks out because she's in a different state in a hospital. She can't do anything, and her daughter basically just called her and said goodbye, and my brother's gone too, so it just starts off so thrilling. And then it's told in very, very short chapters from 5 different perspectives. I believe it's told from the girl's perspective, her mother, who's in the burn unit, and then her grandfather, who she lives with, one of the cops, and then the teacher whose classroom the gunman is in. So this book is not a story about a mass school shooting and the repercussions of that. The whole book takes place while this event is going on. And it's more of a man coming in, holding this classroom hostage, and you don't know why. You don't know who the man is. You don't know if the kids are going to be okay. You don't know anything. So I'm not going to say anything more about it, except that I thought this was so good. And so I'm a big fan of Heather Gudenkauf anyway, so take my rating with a grain of salt because I really think she can do no wrong. But the reason I'm giving it 4 stars instead of 5 is because the middle really does slow down pace-wise. It starts off with a bang, and the last 150 pages flew. But in the middle, there's some pacing issues where it gets a little bit slow, and there's not a whole lot happening. Like I said, this whole book, it's maybe 400 pages, revolves around maybe 6 hours in this school. So very, very interesting. Highly recommend. If you haven't read this one, please pick it up. So then I was listening to Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Center, and this was a buddy read that I was doing with Tia from Tia and All the Books, and so we finished that today, and that one is also going to be a 4 stars. I haven't written my review on Goodreads yet, but the main character, I said in the end of my last vlog, and Tia and I have talked about, I didn't really like the main character at first. She was very, very, very confident, but almost to an arrogant point, and you really see how that was a defense mechanism for her. And there's a wonderful character arc where she really lets down her walls, has a lot of self-actualization, and she becomes one of the most compassionate and caring people that I've read about in a long time. And she is compassionate and caring towards people who don't deserve it. And that is so hard to do. And so I really came around to liking her. I liked the story. It's about a woman who, she is a firefighter in Austin, Texas, and it's a very progressive firehouse where women are welcome. They just are very open to anything. She's a wonderful firefighter, wins all these awards, is just fantastic at what she does. And then her mom, who lives in the Boston area, calls and says, hey, I have this thing going on with my eye. I'm losing my eyesight in one eye. Will you please come help me for a year? And so some stuff goes down at her job in Austin, and she ends up getting transferred. And so she asked to be transferred to Boston. And her mom had run out when she was 16 years old. So her and her mom don't have a great relationship. So she goes and uproots her whole life and goes to the Boston area. And she lives in a smaller town. So she's not in Boston proper, but she's in a small town, a small firehouse outside of Boston that is much more conservative. They don't welcome women. They're really hard on her. And it's just a rough time. So it's her story of finding her way in this firehouse, finding some romance, healing her relationship with her mom, finding out what's really going on with her mom and her eye and all of that kind of situation. So I thought it was very good, very entertaining. There were a couple other things that were extra elements that made it a little bit better. It was just lacking something like it was a 4-star for me. It was not a 5, but it was very entertaining, very good, and I loved the character growth. So those are the 2 things I finished, and now I really don't know what I'm going to pick up, which is really kind of nice because I've got so many shelves and just have things I want to read. So I am going to go do grocery pickup right now and then pick up some takeout for lunch and support one of our town's businesses. And you guys, I have to confess that this morning I was a sucker to the Book Outlet spring sale. And I have been doing so good on taking down my physical TBR. And I think I ordered maybe 23 books this morning. So stay tuned for, I hope, my April in and out, because I'm hoping that they'll come before the end of the month. It says 3 to 5 business days, but then it says like COVID-19 may make this take longer, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know if I'll get it before the end of April, but I really hope so. So yeah, that is everything that's going on. It's a really cold, gross day outside, and so we're not going to be doing a whole lot outside, but yeah, that's the plan for today. I will check in when I have started something else. We'll talk to you later.
Don't you hate it when you fall asleep with a book on your face? I'm assuming she can breathe okay.
Hey everyone, it is about 5 o'clock on Monday, and I just thought I'd let you know what I have picked up to start reading. So I was talking to my sister today, and she said she just picked up a Marian Keyes book, and so I said, oh fun, what one? Because Marian Keyes is one of my favorites, and so she told me, and she said it's one that's just been staring at her from her shelves forever. So I have the same one, so we decided to buddy read. So the book we're reading is The Woman Who Stole My Life by Marian Keyes. And so far, it's really good. It's about an author who is kind of having a writing slump. She's divorced. She has 2 kids. She, I guess, had moved to the States when she got divorced, but then now she's back in Dublin. And it's just kind of her life. And her husband's kind of, he's artistic and has started this karma project where he's going to sell everything he owns and just leave it to karma to take care of him. So that's what's going on. These books are so cute, typically. They're really long. This one's 500 and something, like 70 pages or something. And my sister Alana, she said that she wants to read it in 3 days. So I don't know if that's going to be doable for me because I only have it physically, but I'm going to try. And this one too is one that, because it's so big, I have had it on my shelves for a while, so it's just kind of been staring at me too. So I'm really glad that she gave me a reason to pick this up. So that is what I'm physically reading. And then on audio, I haven't started it yet, but I'm going to this evening. I'm reading The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. And this book is all about, the subtitle is, or Why I Spent a Year Trying to Sing in the Morning, Clean My Closets, Fight Right, Read Aristotle, and Generally Have More Fun. So if you guys have watched previous vlogs, I have started listening to Gretchen Rubin's podcast called, I think, Happier. I think it's something very simple like that, but Gretchen Rubin. And she just does practical things that can help make your life just a little bit better. And she's very much about the philosophy of like kind of outward peace, inward leads to inward peace. And so having just kind of a clear space, or at least a space that is intentional around you, is also helpful for happiness. So I just think, especially while I'm trapped at home and trapped just here in my house, quarantine like we all are, it would be really helpful to get some tips and tricks about how to make the most of it. So that's what I'm reading physically and on audio. And as far as life goes, today we haven't really done anything. We did grocery pickup and lunch, like I said, and then we came home and played for a little bit, took naps, and then now we're going to do some Cosmic Kids yoga before dinner, and then I'm going to make dinner. And tonight I'm making like a vegan hamburger helper, and so it uses lentils as the meat, and it's really quick and easy. It's a one-pot meal, and so I'm so excited about that because it should take like 20 minutes, and that's awesome. So yeah, that's the plan for tonight, and that's it. We'll check in later. Bye. Hey everyone, it is Tuesday, Wednesday? I don't know what day it is. It's the next day since the last time I updated. And I just thought I'd give you a quick update. I'm still reading The Woman Who Stole My Life by Marian Keyes. So my sister and I are buddy reading this, like I said, and last night we checked in with each other, and she was like, I'm on 115, and I was like right around there. So I said, okay, cool, we'll stop just for the night and just kind of stay in the same spot. And so then I was like, how many pages does your book have? And hers has 450. Mine has 530. So she's way ahead of me, and it's just a big book, and hers is hardback, so I guess her pages are a little bigger and a little longer. So I don't really know where she is and where I am, and it makes sense now because I was asking her, like, where is the daughter in this situation? And she was like, she told me the answer, like, how did you miss that? And I just got to the point now where it explains where the daughter is. So it makes sense that we're not meshing up. So I don't know how we will do that as far as like knowing where each other is. But so far it's good. It's told in 2 timelines. And one of them is current, present day, where she is an author. She's living with her 18-year-old son. Her and her husband are divorced, and she's got writer's block. And then it flashes back to a time when she had some sort of immune disease or immune condition where all of her body shut down. So her mind was fine, but the only thing she could move was her eyes. So she's been in the hospital for like 3 or 4 weeks, and she can't do anything. Like, she can't move at all. And so they rotate her, and like, it's basically like she's in a coma, but she is mentally there. Like, the nurses treat her like she's in a coma, and she's in ICU, so her family can only come for little bits at a time, and she can't communicate in any way because all she can do is blink, and like, something's breathing for her, she's got a catheter, like everything is just being taken care of for her. So that part is significantly more interesting. And so I think like, my sister and I both have talked about how we think that part is way, way, way more interesting because nothing's really happening in present day. She just has writer's block. She's talking about how she's gained weight, and her son is kind of a little punk, and really that's all that's happening. I'm a little over 100 pages in, and so I'm not that far into it, but like I said, the storyline where she's in this coma type state is way more interesting. Then for the Happiness Project, I have listened to about half of it. I think it's like a 9-hour audiobook, and I think I'm like 4.5 in. Maybe it's a little, I don't know. I'm about halfway. And so far, I'm really liking it. I do listen to her podcast, so some of it is stuff that I've heard her say before, but it's all just very practical things to get you to look at what makes you happy, and then how you can do more of that in your day-to-day life, because we can't all do what she did and completely like make our world discovering our own happiness. We can't do that. That's not practical because we all have jobs and that kind of stuff. We're not getting paid to write about it. But there are ways that you can think about what makes you happy and how to do that. And one of the biggest things that I think I have taken away is she has said, like, she makes kind of a goal, like a checklist for herself of like 12, I think, traits or things that she wants to do in a day. And so then at the end of the day, she checks in and says, like, okay, how many of these things did I do? Some of it is like logistical things like exercise that makes her feel happy. So those kind of things that you can easily tick off. And then other things are things like act the way I want to feel. So, and that one is really interesting because she's like, yes, I may feel resentment about this thing or that thing or whatever, but I want to feel gracious and happy. So I'm going to act like I feel gracious and happy even when I don't. And that is a big thing. And she's like, by being that gracious and happy, it makes less of an issue, and so then you're more able to actually feel it eventually, whereas if you act resentful, then it just spirals. And so those kind of things are really good reminders to hear, because you really, when you're upset or unhappy, you're punishing yourself and everybody else. And like she has said quite a few times, like when you're happy, everyone around you is happy. Like moods are contagious. And so it's just kind of surrounding yourself with positive people and being one of those positive people in order to fix a lot of situations. So it's really interesting, inspiring. I do have it physically, so I'm kind of going through and highlighting or annotating things that I really want to remember because I'm listening to it on audio. And I think it's one that I'll probably revisit. And she's got quite a few different books, Gretchen Rubin does. So I will definitely try some of her others too. And listening to her podcast, like I said, the books are kind of like supplemental because it's like some of these things I've heard before, but they're a little more in depth. So that is everything reading wise. And then life wise, this morning we ate breakfast and stuff and then tried to do an exercise class, but that didn't go well because we just have had a ton of interruptions. And so now we're sitting on the floor doing some Cosmic Kids yoga and reading books, and then we're going to go switch some laundry and work on cleaning some toys. So I like to fill the sink up or the bathtub up with thieves and water and then just dump a bunch of toys in it, and so I can kind of clean the toys every now and again. So I think we're gonna do that with some, I've got like magnetic letters and numbers, so I'm gonna wash all those and then make a big like 9x13 casserole dish of Jell-O and hide those in it. And so then tonight or tomorrow we can dig in Jell-O and it'll be a fun activity. So, I'm kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here of stuff to do because today marks 1 month of isolation. So March 14th is Pi Day. It's also my nephew's birthday. And that's the day for our town anyway that we kind of just shut down. And like that's the day the library closed. That's the day a lot of things closed. And so today's April 14th. And so that makes a month of this kind of quarantine isolation. And I'm very glad in some ways. Okay, back up really quick. I didn't do my good thing yesterday and I just completely forgot. So I'm just going to keep on trying. Every day's a new day. So today my good thing is that I don't know how long this is going to go on. And that is very counter to what I think and feel, because I really want to know the end date, because if you know the end date, it's easier to like wrap your head around, hey, I'm going to do this for X amount of time. But I am really thankful that I don't know, because if you would have told me a month ago, you're not going to leave your house for at least a month. Well, and we're nowhere near like letting up. So 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever, that would feel so daunting. And just knowing that this could be months and months, it's easier to just kind of try to adjust your mindset and settle into this than it is to know how long it's going to go, if that makes sense. I don't know, I'm really torn on it. But our sermon on Sunday was also about how we're all like counting the days, counting the moments until life comes back to normal. How many days until the world opens back up? How many days until this is under control? How many days until we have a vaccine? All of that. So we're counting our days instead of making our days count. And so regardless of your spiritual belief, I think that is a good thing to remember. Like, try to make the days count instead of count the days. And I'm very, very guilty of counting the days, especially with this baby coming. I'm counting the days until I'm not pregnant anymore. I'm counting the days until things clear up. So then hopefully the whole birthing process will be a little safer and can include my daughter. And so I'm very, very, very guilty of that, and I think that's just a good reminder. But this clip has been going on for like 9 minutes, so we're going to finish Cosmic Kids Yoga, go switch some laundry, go clean those toys, and we'll check in later. Hey everyone, it is Wednesday and it's almost 10 o'clock, and I just thought I'd get on an update because I have done some finishing since the last time we talked, and I have just been trying to film my Reading Rush Stay at Home TBR and tag, and it did not go well because my daughter is I'm trying to contain her in this room and it's not working well, so this clip may be a little messy. But anyway, I finished The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. And I give this 4.5 stars. I really, really liked it. Gretchen Rubin's personality type is very similar to mine. She's very type A and likes lists, and her way of approaching happiness is very concrete, and like you can check things off a list, and that is just speaking my love language. So basically, she went through every month and kind of focused on an area and then made resolutions under that area. And so then she would kind of write down the resolutions, and at the end of every day, she would check in with herself like, did I do these things? And some of them are super practical, and some of them are more character traits that she wants to develop. And then while doing that, she also had like 12 overarching, she called them the 12 commandments of things that she just wants to remember and qualities she wants to possess over everything. And so let me give you some examples. So her 12 commandments are be Gretchen, let it go, act the way I want to feel, which is huge. Like, even if you don't feel it at the moment, if you want to be a happy, cheerful, positive person, you have to act it even when you don't feel it. And then do it now, be polite and fair, enjoy the process, spend out, identify the problem, lighten up, do what ought to be done, no calculation, which means like no transactional nature in your relationship. So no, which I thought of in parenting is especially hard, of like, no, okay, I took care of my daughter from 8 to 5. She's yours from 5 to 9 or 8 or whatever. Or like, okay, I took her, or I did this with her, now you need to do this. You know, very transactional. I feel like in parenthood, it's very easy to fall into that trap. So that's one of her 12 commandments, no calculation. And then there's only love. Her 12 monthly goals or areas were vitality, and her goal was to boost energy. And so with that, she had the resolutions of go to sleep earlier, exercise better, toss, restore, and organize, tackle a nagging task, and act more energetic. So like with that one, when her kids were wanting to play and she was just exhausted kind of at like the 5 o'clock hour, and her kids were wanting her attention in some way, she did it. Instead of saying, y'all, I'm too tired, she did it. And she found that some of those ways of acting, really, you kind of have to fake it till you make it, but then it does become more natural. So that's just January's example. Let's see, February was remember love, and so she was talking about marriage. She had some resolutions under there. March was aim higher, and so she was focusing on work. April, lighten up, and she was focusing on parenting, and that one is especially helpful just when we are parenting 24/7 because of this quarantine. We've got no help, no distractions, no nothing. So really letting you lighten up and enjoy this time is a process. So May was about leisure, and she said be serious about play. So making time for that is very hard to do. June was make time for friends, and different ways of doing that, different resolutions for doing that. July was buy some happiness, so how to use your money to make you happy. And yeah, that was interesting because it's regardless of how much money you do or don't have, she has good tips. August, contemplate the heavens, which is eternity. And so in that chapter, she's talking about like read memoirs about catastrophe because it helps you appreciate your time, like your life more. And it also talks a lot about how like deprivation is the greatest way to lead to appreciation. So for example, like the fact that we can't do anything right now will make it feel so wonderful to do something like go to the park or go to the grocery store, or things that maybe would have felt like obligations before. So that was really helpful. Also with that, keep a gratitude notebook and imitate a spiritual master, and just kind of who do you admire and why? What qualities do they have that you want? And this book, I just want to say, is I think she's maybe Jewish, and there's no, like, it says a spiritual master. It's not religion specific. It's not Christian based. It's not Judaism based. It's not, it's just very open to anything. But there is some, like, emulating the people you admire. September was pursue a passion, and hers is books. And so that was also obviously pretty relatable. October was pay attention, and that's about mindfulness. November was about keeping a contented heart and your attitude. And then 12, she just took all of the resolutions from the first 11 months and tried to do them all at once. And so like I said, having the resolutions, the specific resolutions, was a very tangible way for her to check it off at the end of the day and say she did it or didn't do it. And she was very good about offering herself grace if she didn't do it. And I just really, really enjoyed this. And this really inspired me to like think more about what would make me happy and how to get there and how to do it. And so much of that starts with you. And so much of that is not easy, you know, and a lot of her marriage and stuff, and she's talking about like, don't expect praise or recognition or any of the things that you probably deserve, but don't expect it, because then you're just putting your happiness on somebody else. And anytime you do that, you're bound to fail, or they're bound to fail, or whatever. So, and a lot of this too, another big takeaway is just, it's not always going to feel happy, but you have to kind of fake it till you make it. So this was really good. There were a couple things I didn't quite agree with, but overall 4.5 stars. And if you are a type A person, I think this would be very, very helpful. And if you're not, I think it would still be helpful. I read it on audio, and I would highly recommend reading it physically, because the way it is laid out, like I went back through obviously and did some annotations and some notes, and I just wish I would have read it that way because it's a lot easier. And she also has tons of tips and tricks in the back, like if exercise is one of your goals, tips to stick to exercise, tips for being a lighthearted parent, tips to engage your significant other without nagging, you know, energy boost, how to keep your resolutions. She just has so many tips and tricks in here. This is very good. And like I said, if you listen to her podcast, some of this is repeated, but just having it in this format, I really enjoyed. So that's a lot of talk about that. I'm also still reading The Woman Who Stole My Life by Marian Keyes. And I'm buddy reading this with my sister, and she is not enjoying it. She has given it, like she said, right now it's a 2-star, and she has less than 100 pages left. And so I'm a little scared because I'm behind. I'm 220 pages out of 530 pages in. And like I said earlier, it's told in like 3 timelines, and that's kind of confusing. And really the only timeline that's interesting is when she's in a coma and kind of what's going on there. And it's kind of predictable. I think I know where it's going. So I don't know. This one, for me, I'm still enjoying it, but it's a big book and I've got a lot left. So that is that. And then as far as on audio, I think I'm going to pick up this Overwhelmed by Kathy Lipp and Sherry Gregory. This is a Christian nonfiction about just it says how to quiet the chaos and restore your sanity. And I don't feel particularly overwhelmed right now in regards to life, but I do think that this would just be helpful. It's a really short little book, and it's about control and how to like be okay even when you don't have control. And I feel like that's really applicable to right now. This is very Christian based, so if that is not something you like to read, then I would not say this is for you. So I also want to talk about, how do you feel about nonfiction and audio? I love nonfiction on audio because it is so dense. That helps kind of think about it. But I also really like to annotate. It's hard to, physically reading allows you to annotate easier, I think, but I just like having it on audio and then having the physical as backup and like kind of going through and annotating that way. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on nonfiction and audio? Yeah, that is everything as far as reading. Yesterday, I didn't get a whole lot of reading done because I did fall asleep during nap time. And then, we did dinner, and then we did family yoga after dinner. Like I said, I think I've said in here, my daughter loves Cosmic Kids Yoga, and me and my husband and daughter all did it together last night after dinner. And my husband is one of those people who like can't touch his toes. Like I think he can maybe touch his knees. Like he's just a very stiff guy, not very limber. And so between him and then me, like I've got this 8-month pregnant belly trying to do some of the moves, and then my 2-year-old, I'm sure it was a sight to see, but we all had a lot of fun. Then we did some Go Noodle videos, and we just kind of danced around and made it a fun night. So I didn't get really any reading done until bedtime, and then we all know how that goes. I fall asleep. So hopefully today is going to be a little better reading day. It's really cold outside, so we're not going to be doing a whole lot outside. I think now I'm going to do some editing, let her do some yoga. Hopefully that'll work out for me. And then we'll do lunch. We've got grocery pickup between 1 and 2, so we'll do that. and really like not big plans for today. We did yesterday. We buried a whole bunch of letter toys. They're A through Z and one through 9 or whatever, in Jello. And so today she's gonna get to dig out that Jello and get all those letters out, and that'll be fun. Just some sensory play, something different to do. So we'll do that at some point, and that's our day. So this clip has been so long. I'm glad this is a short vlog because I'm going to end this vlog today because tomorrow I am going to be taking part in the Reading Rush Stay-at-Home Readathon. So, and that runs tomorrow, which is Thursday through Sunday. So this vlog is going to end today. Not right now, but I will get on and end it at the end of the day probably and post it during this weekend. And then stay tuned for my weekend vlog. I've got a TBR, a really wonky TBR. This one book, if I finish this will meet all the challenges. But I put a whole bunch of other stuff on my TBR too. So we'll see how that goes. But we will check in later. And that's it. Bye.
Hey everyone, it is Wednesday early evening, and I just thought I'd get on and wrap up this vlog and tell you what I've gotten read today. So I read a little bit in Overwhelmed by Kathy Lipp and Sherry Gregory. And this one, it seems to be like identifying what type of overwhelmed you are and then like how you got there and how to get out basically. And there's 5 types that they identify. They are, let's see, overwhelmed by decision fatigue because you don't know your true self, because you're not being true to yourself, because unexpected emergencies, overwhelmed from doing too much for too many other people for too long, or if you're overwhelmed by disappointment and worry. So that's 6 kinds. And so there's a little quiz to help you see which kind of overwhelmed you are. And then it goes through, like I said, kind of why you might be that way. Talks about different personality types. So far, it's really interesting. And this book, again, is one that I think you need to read physically because it's got, like I said, some quizzes and just other things that you can kind of journal through and think through and fill out within the book. So as answering my last question about nonfiction on audio, I think I do prefer reading it physically. It also, audiobook time is normally when I'm running around doing things, and I can't, like, you can't really multitask and focus on this when it's a self-improvement type thing. If it's a memoir or something like that, yes, you can. But when it's self-improvement like this, I think it's much better read physically. So I'm going to continue doing both physical and audio until I get through that. It's a short one, and then I probably will stick to just fiction on audio. As far as this goes, The Woman Who Stole My Life by Marian Keyes, I'm like 330 pages in, so I have about 200 pages left. And my sister finished it today, and she said she really didn't like it. She gave it 2 stars. She said it probably should have been 1 star. And so that really has like wrecked my motivation to finish it. But I'm actually enjoying it just fine. It's like probably a 3 star for me right now. It's this woman, now the coma period has ended, and we found out some different things about time that make timelines a little bit clearer. And so we're just trying to figure it all out. Her relationships with her kids, her husband, her doctors, her sister, like there's just a lot of relationships going on here. This is definitely a character study. It's not a heavy plot story. It's pretty slow moving. So that's pretty typical of Marian Keyes. It seems like hers really focused on a character in their life, and a whole lot may or may not even happen. So that's this. Like I said, if I were to end it now, I would say it was 3.5 stars, and I have 200 pages left. It's really reading very quickly. My daughter did not nap, and but she lay down for like an hour, and I read over 100 pages in that hour. So I should be able to finish pretty soon. Probably not tonight, but tomorrow for the stay-at-home Reading Rush Readathon. I hope to finish it tomorrow or Friday, tomorrow or Friday. But that's it. So as far as the day goes, let's see, we went to grocery pickup after lunch, and we're there 40 minutes, and they hadn't brought our stuff, and she said she had to go to the bathroom. And so I'm like, great, what do? I don't have masks. I can't take us in. Like, that's the worst place to go. So I took her home. Luckily, my husband is obviously here working, so dropped her off with him, went back, and long story short, the whole process was like an hour and a half. And then one of the things they didn't have, and they haven't had it in like weeks, it's some non-dairy yogurt. And my husband asked last week, like, do you know when you'll be getting some? And they said Tuesday. So today's Wednesday. I figured surely. So I called. I was like, hey, did you already sell out? Did you not get it? Do you have any idea when you'll get it? Because it's our very favorite kind. It's a plain kind. So I use it like in the place of sour cream or just any like thickener in like more cooking stuff. And so I really like it and can't find anything that's like comparable. And so I called, said, you know, are you going to get it? And he was like, well, we have two on the shelves. I don't know why we didn't give you any. And so then my husband had to go back and go in and get it and all that. And so we don't have masks, and we just haven't used them. But so he fashioned one out of an old t-shirt and went and got some. And so we've got our yogurt, got all that. The Jell-O digging was a huge hit. We did it and then stirred it all back up and did it again. Shouldn't have talked about it because now, I don't know if you heard, she just said, I want to go dig, and it's gone. So, yeah, we might be burying more things in Jell-O. I bought 6 packs, so we have 5 left, and so we can bury other things, hopefully. But, yeah, that is the day. So I will probably just end it here because I'm going to get up and make dinner pretty soon. And then tonight's The Masked Singer, but we like to wait until Thursday night because then Thursday night's on Hulu, so we don't have to watch commercials. So we may or may not watch that tonight. We are all really tired, especially with no naps, so it might be an early bedtime for everybody. And that's the plan. So thank you for watching. If you have watched this vlog, thank you. It's a shorter like time, but I have been so gabby. So if you have anything to say about anything I've said or read, or if you have any opinions, my good thing for today, I'm not gonna forget. My good thing for today is that I will insert a picture somewhere because I have been like kind of obsessively checking our county's health department page and a website called worldometer.com to see how many new cases there are, because I just keep thinking we're going to start going down on the curve and things are going to start getting better. And today our state was extended to May 3rd for the shelter in place. And so I'm just thinking, heck, like my birthday is May 16th. Mother's Day is right around there. It would really be nice to be able to celebrate with family. And then also this baby is supposed to come around June 10th. My due date has gotten moved all over the beginning of June, but sometime in the beginning of June. So I'm really hoping all this is cleared up, if not by my birthday and Mother's Day, that by June, and we will get to see family and celebrate a little bit and just get out of these 4 walls. But yeah, so but back to my good thing. My good thing is that I've been obsessively checking those things, and Worldometer has a United States graph of new cases per day, and I will insert it here because it does look like we have hit our peak. Now, I may be speaking too soon, and I don't know what that means logistically, but I'm really hoping that it means we are on the upswing of this. I don't know. Our community specifically, it seems like people are not listening. There's a lot of cars out still, a lot of people at the grocery store not doing pickup, a lot of people, a lot of businesses that are ironically deeming themselves essential. So I'm just really hoping that we can all do what's right for the greater good of everybody and stay in, if we can, as much as we can, and flatten that curve. So I'm hoping we're on the way down, and that's my good thing for today. Please, please, please share yours. I don't think I did Monday, but I did yesterday and today. So share your good thing, and if you have any thoughts or anything on anything I've read. Now I'm going to go because this is an unnecessarily long clip. So thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow in the start of another vlog.